to the November 1st edition of SU Football Weekly presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. I'm joined by Coach Joe Austin. How are you this evening, Coach?
Good, Chuck. Thanks.
We had a pretty good outing on Saturday.
It
Hosted
was.
the Austin College Kangaroos, and what I'd like to do is go right to the highlight reel so we can get a look at that, and then we'll come back and talk about the game.
Let's do it.
Marion to the left of Gilpin. They'll fake to him and flip it out into the flat. It's caught by Costilla. He's in for the score in the corner of the end zone. Pirates extend the lead now to 13-6 with 7 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Taking this time, there's the snap. He'll follow Jennings, and he'll cut it back outside at midfield and be wrangled down around the 45, 46-yard line of the Kangaroos by number 40 to the left of the formation. He'll send Jennings in motion, and he'll follow Jennings that way, but look back to the left, throw it over the middle, complete to Costilleja. He'll break a tackle, 10-5, another touchdown Pirates with 14:01 remaining in the half. Two-back set for James. He'll take the snap and hand to Betts, and he's going to get run down in the backfield by big number 90, Noah Clarkson, for a big loss back to almost the original line of scrimmage, where it'll be 4th down and the punting unit will come out once again for the Kangaroos. Ty Stigway, the running back, they'll hand to him as he moves to his left. He'll cut outside at the 30, 35, 40. He's down the sidelines midfield. He's going to get knocked out in Kangaroo territory. But 3 receivers here on the wide side. He'll flip it out to Huerta. Huerta cuts up at the 40, 35, 30, and he's going to get knocked Jaquan Marion, the running back, 3 receivers near side of the formation. They'll throw it out to Costilleja. Has 2 blockers in front of him. He splits those at the 30, and he'll be forced out of bounds right around the 20-yard line. Another first down Pirates here with 5:33 on the clock. 29-yard attempt from the senior. Hold is down, kick is up. And it's good, and the Pirates extend their lead to 31-13 with 3:13 remaining in the third quarter. Spread formation, tight segue the running back. Gilpin takes the snap, drops straight back, looking for somewhere to throw, spins around, rolls to his right, pointing downfield for a receiver to get open, sets up, throws deep down the right sideline, pass is caught, and that is a touchdown by Ethan Powell, number 84, as he caught it around the 5-yard line and walked in. Landry Gilpin just directing traffic, Tony Romo-esque scrambling. Great job by the quarterback. Good reception by Ethan Powell. For sure. Oh, Tyler James fakes to Best. And there to meet him in the backfield is big number 33. And that, of course, is Edmundo Suarez with the tackle jersey. Again, add another touchdown.
When the game was still in doubt, we really ate up the clock in the third quarter. We could have scored a little bit more, but the players did what we asked them to do. They came out and they won the second half, and they did it play after play, so that was good.
Welcome back to SU Football Weekly. Of course, that's the highlight reel from Saturday. And, Coach, there were plenty of highlights that were left off of that reel, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But give us your general thoughts on Saturday's performance.
There were times where we did a really nice job in all 3 phases. And we're going to have some guests on that were selected by their teammates as their players of the game. We didn't put any of Charlie Fournier's kickoffs on there, for example. He kicked 5 kickoffs that hit the ground in different ways. He placed the ball amazingly well. And so we'll talk to him. We saw a lot from Jaquan Marion. We saw a little bit from Alec Gomez. But there were times when all 3 phases did really, really well. What you can build upon and use as a point of encouragement for our team is there were times where we didn't play great. First drive was not good on defense. In the second quarter, offense and defense, we slowed down a little bit also. So there's enough there. There's some meat on the bone. There's some things we can go back and say, here's how we can get better and become more consistent. And that's what we'll look at doing. But it certainly was a really good effort. And to put a decisive victory on Austin College is good because we play them a lot. Unlike most of the teams in our conference, we actually go against them in recruiting more than probably anybody else. So it's good to put a good margin of victory between them, especially since we hadn't played them since 2016.
Well, and you mentioned, Coach, that you said there's a lot of meat on the bone, things that did occur that could be improved upon. And one of those that I noticed was a little bit of possessing the ball. There were a couple of turnovers and a couple of almost turnovers committed by the Pirates. So what did you tell your guys there during the game and post-game about protecting the football?
We talk about that constantly, so that's not something we have to say, hey, by the way, guys, take care of the
Right.
football. It's built into our objectives for all of our offensive position groups that possessing the football and not turning it over is a really important thing. And you're right, we almost slowed ourselves down. We fumbled it a couple times, but we got it back. And luckily, we did a really good job. I should say luckily, but fortunately, we did a really good job with the football as far as where we threw it. We didn't put the ball into any rough places really. I mean, Landry made great decisions all game. Really high completion percentage. I think maybe the highest of his career. So he did a really good job of choosing where he was going to put the football, and we took care of it from that standpoint.
Well, one of the things you mentioned was Austin College, going back to defense. Austin College's opening drive. They were able to drive down the field and get the opening score of the ball game. I often think that opening drive is kind of difficult to judge how well an offense is going to perform in a given game, because you can script a good 8, 10, 12 plays, and based on your film study and before any adjustments can be made, you can be pretty successful pretty much against who you play. Correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, and let us know what kind of adjustments you made defensively to really slow that offense down after a pretty good drive they opened with.
Nothing. We played better. They didn't come out and do 12 things we hadn't seen on film. They came out and they used their formations, and they aligned and ran plays that we should have been ready for. And so we certainly bounced back, which is the good news. I mean, after that first drive, I think it was several 3-and-outs in a row, or maybe one first down for most of the rest of the first half until the very end. And that really keyed our offense's ability to get going. 3-and-outs were great, especially when you're scoring on offense. So I really felt all three of our phases at times of the game really worked well together.
Well, and talking back about offense, this is the first time this season that the offense has opened and been so successful so quickly. 4 drives, 4 touchdowns. Talk about the feeling on the sideline with the offense when things were clicking like they were.
It's a good question, because I never really leave, the field side as the head coach. But we definitely got into a rhythm, and we were running the ball and throwing the ball. And so we had a really good balance, I thought, of how we attacked them. And I thought, our players, as you said, just kind of got in a groove in our execution. We really did a nice job with execution on those first 4 drives.
Well, and you mentioned the kicks by Charlie Fournier, one of our interviewees for this evening. But talk about special teams a little bit. There was good coverage on kicks, excellent placement of kicks. And if you're comparing how special teams played for Southwestern University compared to Austin College, there was a drastic contrast between the success by the Pirate special teams. Give us your thoughts
Sure.
on the special teams.
One of their, if not their best plays, is their kickoff return. They ran a touchdown back the week before. They've had a good kickoff return scheme throughout the season. So one of our strategies was to not let them use that, especially early in the game. So we started off with having Charlie kick 3 what we call sky kicks, which are high, short kicks, with the intent of them not getting back to their deep returners. And he placed them all perfectly. I think 2 of the first 3 hit the ground. We made 4 sky kicks to begin with. And then once we got into a rhythm and got a lead, we just said we're going to do our normal deep kick. Not that we knew we could do both. We had a really good strategy, I thought, of attacking them with the sky kicks and really had them out of what they want to do. Then they started substituting and put them in the wide receiver and the sky kick spots, and that's going to affect their ability to block when they're taking personnel out. So when I saw them changing their personnel to field the sky kicks, then I felt it was the right time to start kicking it deep. And we had some really great deep kicks. We forced them into more fair catches. Charlie hit another, as we talked about before the show, golf shot. Landed the 2-yard line and bounced back, and they had to pick it up. And Quan Jones, smashed him. Really good hit. Surprised it wasn't on the highlight films. It certainly could have been. So I thought our special teams did some pretty good things, and we punted the ball well. Will had only 2 punts, and we averaged 50 yards a punt. Will made all of his field goals and extra points, and Charlie got to kick one as well. Scored his first college point on our last extra point. So it was a very good special teams game overall. Our return game, they didn't meet their objective because they didn't set up a score, but they did enough, I guess. Mm-hmm. But definitely our coverage teams did a really good job.
Well, and I think when teams watch film of Pirate football games, the return game is something that concerns them, and so I would assume they probably spend some time trying to strategize against that and also work to limit that for your guys. So do you have any final thoughts for the Austin College game before we close out this week?
Good game, important win. Glad our players got to have that experience and get going. We had a rough week the week before, and what we've been telling our players all year long is keep getting better every week. And it's great to hear guys like Bernard Century, who was on last week, that they're listening and they're believing in that. And hopefully we can continue to show that over these last couple games, all the progress that we've slowly made throughout the season. Hopefully we can really display that like we did last Saturday.
Excellent, Coach. We'll take a quick break, and we'll start with the interviews here momentarily on SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. We'll be right back. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. I'm Chuck Cracy. Joining me now is Alec Gomez, a linebacker for the Southwestern University Pirates. How are you, Alec?
Good.
You're doing well? You had a pretty good game on Saturday against the Kangaroos. Wrote some questions down. I really just want to get your thoughts on the defense's performance overall from your perspective.
Well, I just think we went out there and executed our game plan. We knew that Austin College wanted to run the ball. We made sure they passed the ball, and we made sure we got into spots where we can make them think about what they wanted to do.
Well, and one of the things I noticed was there was a lot of pressure on Tyler James, the quarterback for Austin College. Talk about a little bit about strategy without revealing any secrets, obviously, but talk about the strategy of the Pirate defense. It was obvious that y'all felt like putting pressure on the quarterback was going to give you success.
Yeah, so the game plan was just make him throw the ball, and Coach Creasel just drew a great game plan and let me loose, and our D-line made a great job of just making sure that the O-line was worried about them and let me run free.
Well, and you did run free. Stats-wise, you had 4 tackles. You had a sack and 4 quarterback hurries. And every one of those quarterback hurries, you know, one of the things that isn't listed on a stats page is you're hitting that quarterback, and he's feeling it. And you could really see it wear on him as the game wore on. In fact, they had to substitute for him on one drive.
Yes, sir. Just letting me know that we're coming every play was the goal that on Saturday.
So how excited do you get when you know you've got kind of a called blitz going? And do they ask you to mask it at all?
Yeah,
sometimes?
it's just knowing I'm coming. I'm letting them know I'm coming, and they're letting me loose. So it's just fun.
Yeah, that it's a lot of fun to watch when the defense is being that successful. Talk about the importance of the interplay between the offense and the defense and the special teams. You know, if the offense is not moving the ball and the opponent's offense is, then you've got to spend a lot of time on the football field.
Yes, sir.
So talk about that interplay between the different units and how that affects you guys.
I just think hats off to our coaches. You know, conditioning was one thing that we really preached during our off season and coming into the season. So I think they got us prepared to just be out on the field, whatever cost.
Okay, well, and I ask this of all student athletes that come up, and obviously you're known as a student athlete. You know,
Yes,
a lot of people think football player, they're just an athlete, but no, you go to one of the tougher schools academically, not only in the state of Texas, but in the entire United States. So just give us your thoughts on the experience as a student athlete who attends Southwestern University.
You know, it's great. It's great having that atmosphere of it's like high school. You know, the professor is attentive of us. It's a small classroom. You know, we all know what we're doing. The professor knows what we're doing. We know each other. It's just a great atmosphere knowing that you're going to class and showing up, and the professor knows that you're coming, and it's instilled in them to make sure we learn.
So when you talk to younger athletes, like maybe from the high school that you attended, or that you just happened to cross in life, do you promote Southwestern and tell them about what a positive experience it is
Oh,
at the school?
most definitely, most definitely. I love Southwest. You know, the atmosphere here is great. The school is great. The program is great. The coaches love us. So it's amazing.
So I'm going to go back to your high school experience just briefly. Landry Gilpin told me that you're from the same hometown and that you played on a team that he often played.
Yes,
Talk
sir.
about your experience going against Landry Gilpin as an opponent.
So our game was the crosstown rivalry. So I went to Mission High. He went to Mission Vet. So it was a great game. It was honestly one of the greatest rivalry I was a part of. It was very, very fun to play against Landry. You know, having him scramble around on Saturdays, having to catch him on Fridays. So it was a fun time.
So do you feel sorry for the other team when you see him break loose on a long run and say, yeah, I remember when that
Yeah,
happened?
most definitely. I remember those Fridays chasing him around.
What's it like having him on your team now, though? I mean, are y'all good friends?
It's great. Yeah, it's great having him on my team. I don't have to chase him around no more. So.
That's a good reason. Now let's talk about your major a little bit. What is your major here at Southwestern?
Here in Southwestern, my major is business. I'm looking to go into the business.
So are you looking to work in corporate America, or are you planning to start your own business? Do you have plans at all about what you're going to do in life?
Not yet, just scoping around, but I think I want to be an entrepreneur, just my own thing.
So you would like to own your own business?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's an excellent choice, but as with anything, that's going to be hard work to be successful, and that's one of the experiences that I believe college football gives to people is it teaches you that what you put in dictates what you're going to get out of something, and that applies to everything. It applies on the football field, it applies in life, and I've noticed that this team has continued to work despite some rough spots in the early part of the season, and the success is coming. So I want to congratulate you on a good game on
Appreciate you,
Saturday,
Chuck.
and we'll be right back on SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. I'm Chuck Cracy. Joining me now is Charlie Fournier. How you doing, Charlie?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Charlie is kickoff specialist this season. You're a freshman here on the Southwestern University Pirate football team. You had a pretty good game. Give us your thoughts on Saturday.
Yes, sir. I thought we had a great special teams game plan going into the game. We worked on it all week long, and I felt like the coaches really prepared me and the entire kickoff unit. And I thought we just went out there and we did our jobs, and it turned out pretty well for us.
Well, and you currently have a senior place kicker, Will Herbst, and so you got to spend some time with him in the kicking room and things like that. Are there things that he's teaching you, preparing you to take over the role of place kicker for the next season?
Oh, yes, sir, definitely. Every day he's teaching me something new. He's been an excellent role model for me so far, just teaching me a lot of what he's learned through college football, balancing school and football, and just what being a Pirate has meant to him over the last 4 years. So it's been really great to learn from him.
Well, and if you've never attempted a extra point or a field goal as an individual, and you find yourself on a football field with a football and somebody willing to hold it, I recommend that you give it a shot, because it looks a lot easier when you're watching it on film than if you try it yourself. Talk about the difficulty of being consistent as a kicker.
I mean, obviously consistency as a kicker is a huge thing. The biggest thing that I do is just I try to treat every practice the same way I would treat my kicks on Saturdays. And I feel like that's the best way to prepare for a Saturday game is every time you're out there on the practice field, the special teams unit treats it just as we would on a Saturday, and I think that's the reason why we have so much success as a unit.
Well, and elements come into play in all aspects of football, but really in the kicking game. This time of year, there's a lot of wind. Sometimes you have to kick in the rain. Give us your thoughts on kicking in weather.
Well, it's definitely not as fun as kicking on a clear day, that's for sure. But the same thing I was saying with the consistency, if it's windy during Saturday games, it's going to be windy during practices. The coaches set us up for success. They have us kick into the wind, with the wind. If it's raining, unless there's lightning, we're out there practicing. We're kicking the same as we would on a Saturday. So I feel like they prepare us to be successful.
One of the other aspects that can provide pressure to someone in your role is an important kick, or if you can tell that the opponent is sending the house to try to block it. Talk about the pressure sometimes that comes along with, being on center stage as a kicker.
Well, there's definitely a lot of pressure that comes with it. I mean, it's you either make it or you miss it, so there's not much room for lenience there. But I just try to kick every kick the same, back to the consistency again. Just treat every kick the same. If they're sending everybody rushing or if they're not rushing at all, I try to think of it as the exact same kick, just an extra point or a game winner. Doesn't matter.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about your academics. We mention it every time. You're a student athlete, not just an athlete. Talk about what your experience has been to this point. I realize you're young in your college career, but talk about your experience as a student athlete to this point.
It's definitely been a challenge balancing athletics in school, but the coaches and the other players set us up for success. We have pretty much every resource that we could ask for. The professors are great. It's a very personal experience. They care whether or not you're coming to class, and they care about how you're doing. And all the guys on the team are always there to help you out if you have any questions, and they're more than welcome to share their experiences, so that's been extremely helpful.
How different is it kicking in high school and being a student athlete in high school compared to college?
There's a lot more freedom in college. I mean,
the responsibility falls more on you.
Yes,
right?
It's much more on you personally. Like, if you want to go home after football practice and you're tired, you can. There's no one telling you to go do your homework. You can just go to sleep if you want, but you have to be able to have that self-discipline. And I feel like part of that has been taught to me, at least me personally, through football. So I feel like that's helped a lot as well.
Yeah, and it's like we said, whatever you put into it is what you're going to get out of it.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's talk about your major. Have you decided? A lot of freshmen haven't decided, but have you?
Yeah, I actually just decided I'm going to major in biology and then double minor in psychology and Spanish.
So do you speak Spanish fluently at the moment?
No, not even close, but I'm hoping to one day.
Well, it is an excellent secondary language to choose in the state in which you live in.
Yes, sir.
So what is your major?
Biology.
Oh, did you just say that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So what are your life plans to do with that degree in biology?
I know I want to do something in medicine. I don't know exactly what yet. I'm thinking maybe public health, healthcare administration, but that could change depending on how much I like the courses I'm taking.
So you want to do that in a private corporate setting, or are you looking to do that at a governmental level?
More governmental level, probably.
So you don't want to be a politician, though. You just want to be an appointee?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So what do you look forward to going down the stretch here for the special teams? You got 2 more games left in the season. You got Texas Lutheran this weekend, and then Sol Ross at home. So you don't have a whole lot of travel. Give us your thoughts.
I mean, we've just been trying to improve every week as a special teams unit, and I think we'll continue to do the same. As a team, I felt like we've gotten better and better each week, and I think that as long as we continue to do that, we'll keep seeing results.
Well, I think the hard work is starting to pay off,
Yes, sir.
and you can see it from where I sit, and I'm sure you can see it in the stands as well. So congratulations and good luck next week.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in to SU Football Weekly. I'm Chuck Cracy. SU Football Weekly presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. We'll be right back. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Joining me now, Quan Marion. How you doing, Quan?
I'm great. It's nice to see you again.
It's good to see you too. Talked to you on Saturday post game. If you didn't make the highlight reel, I guess Carl didn't feel like our discussion was worthy. But if you would like to see that, you could just go watch the stream. It's at the end of the stream. Let's talk a little bit about the game on Saturday. You had 14 carries for 87 yards. That's a 6.2 average if you're doing the math. You had a rushing touchdown. You also had 3 receptions for 65 yards. That's a 21.7 yard average for those mathematically challenged, and a touchdown as well. Talk about the offense and how you fit into it.
Well, first off, I just want to say it was a great team win this past weekend. As an offense, we really came together. We stayed focused, and we worried about the next play, and we just took our assignments one at a time. It was great. Our coaches were fired up. Our players was fired up. Landry was amazed. He was fired up probably the most on the offense. And, it was just great. And, the fans behind us, you guys even, drove us like crazy to make sure that we had to bring this win back, for the city of Georgetown. As far as my place in the offense, I'm really grateful to be a part of the offense. I was amazingly humbled to be, chosen as a starter running back. But I feel like it's all, everybody else but me. It's the team. I love the line. Our line worked really hard to be really good. Coach Ross and Coach Mask and all of our other coaches really help our line prepare, every weekend to get better and better. And, it's just amazing to see them develop. Our quarterbacks work really, really hard. Coach Mask gets them right. Landry works hard. And he has people that's, challenging him and working him, make sure he's right. As far as my room, I call it the best room, RBU.
Yeah.
The running back room, I have so many other running backs, that I look up to. Brandon Jennings, the senior, the oldest, I call him Big Brother.
Yeah.
BJ makes sure every weekend all the running backs know everything we're supposed to do as far as, what the linemen do, what the receivers do, where our gap is. BJ always gets us prepared. Coach Halley makes sure we're prepared mentally and physically as well. To, we know their scheme, we know what they're going to do. We know where to run. All the other running backs, we highly motivate each other, to do better. We watch film together as a group once a week to make sure we know our assignment for this week and what to do to get better, get past these teams.
Well, and oftentimes with a football team, there will be one running back that's the primary focus, or, occasionally 2. But the Pirates have a very deep running back room and can bring in multiple different talented running backs. Give us your thoughts on the running back room a little bit. I know you mentioned it a little bit. You talked about Jennings, who's almost like a coach in shoulder pads. But give us your thoughts on that, the depth of the running back room, and the fact that there doesn't seem to be much animosity about the football getting passed around to multiple guys.
Well, the running back room is absolutely amazing. We're all led by Brandon Jennings, the oldest, as they call him, the old man.
Yep.
But, the other running backs, it's just amazing to see them rep and practice, to see everything that they know. They answer questions in film, and, we even talk to each other, ask ourselves questions, and it's just amazing seeing them play. We have DJ. DJ is also, I think, a senior, number 5. He is an amazing running back. His strength and his ability to just want to go hit somebody on defense is pretty amazing to watch. Just because I feel his energy sometimes. I feel like I'm able to feel their energy. We have is a sophomore. Um's patience and his ability to just turn the switch on and off, I think, is absolutely incredible. And I'll probably say he's on the faster side, unlike me. We have Gianni, number 32. Gianni is just absolutely quick and fast and just amazing to watch. His vision is something that I'm trying to get one day. I want to be able to have Gianni's vision, how to get in and out the hole, and I just think it's incredible. We have Kobe, number 27, Kobe Bartlett. I was extremely sad Kobe could not get his first college touchdown this past weekend. On his it was a TD play, or no, it was a Moses, and I was just extremely sad he couldn't get his first college touchdown. But the running backs in the room are absolutely amazing, and it is a blessing being able to work with them. Sometimes I just be wanting to sit back and just watch them play, because it's like, oh my God, we have this much talent, and it's just amazing to be able to see them play and rep.
Well, talk a little bit about the blocking that the running backs do in this offense, because it's not just carrying the ball, it's not just little short pass routes. One of the more impressive things about the running backs on this squad is how well they block. Give us your thoughts on that.
Well, At first, blocking wasn't the best for us. You know, Coach Ross, our offensive coordinator, he has stayed on us since day one and make sure every single day that we get better and better as far as blocking. You know, even now, I probably say we aren't at our full potential of blocking, but we're for sure getting better. We're developing. We're learning our techniques. And, you know, and I say it also starts with Brandon Jennings, you know, the big back. We all strive to be him as far as blocking, you know. In my honest opinion, BJ is our best blocker. You know, his technique, his form, his strength is everything that we want it to be. And I feel like that's the perfect example of the league when we talk about blocking.
Well, you basically have a built-in lead if you're Landry Gilpin with that running back staying beside you. So, I mean, oftentimes there may be a fake to you, but generally they'll just send you through a hole and he'll follow through. So give us your thoughts on being a freshman and, you know, kind of being at least on the field, a leader on the team.
Well, it's truly a blessing, you know, to have the guys look up to me. You know, honestly, being a freshman, it amazes me that, you know, that everybody look at me the way they do as a leader, and that's truly, like I say, a blessing. You know, being on the field with those guys it's incredible, and for them to look for me for guidance sometimes. And, you know, I'm a freshman. I don't have all the answers. I just try to give them the most I can, you know, on and off the field as far as, you know, about the game of football. So I would say, you know, just being on the field as a freshman, it's a blessing. And I just try to make sure I keep my teammates happy with, you know, with my performance first. And I hope that, you know, stretches out into the team's performance.
Well, and leadership's not just a vocal thing. You know, sometimes you lead by example. And I think you do a pretty good job of that, at least on Saturdays. That. You know, I don't get to see you during the week, but I assume you can't just show up on Saturday and play as well as you did this past Saturday.
Yes, sir.
It takes the work you put in, right? So let's talk a little bit about your experience as a student athlete at Southwestern University. I know you're a freshman, just like Charlie. So, you know, it's kind of your first year, or are you? Is this your second year academically?
This is my first year here.
Your first year. So give us your thoughts, because, you know, it's a brand new experience for you.
It has been truly a blessing being here at Southwestern. I say, as far as now, it's been pretty amazing. You know, my teachers are pretty amazing. They're understanding, and they, like Charlie said, it's a class of only 13 of us. You know, they're willing to work with us. I was fortunate enough to go to a college prep school, a private school, who my high school was a lot like Southwestern, so I can say I had a lot of prior knowledge to how this system run, and I'm absolutely in love with this system, you know, the small classrooms, so I can get one-on-one time with my teacher, being able just to talk to my professors, talk to my classmates in case I miss anything, you know, and just be able to you know, do everything outside of football, off the field, you know, just being on the campus, being around these people, because, you know, Southwestern is a very, very smart school.
Yes.
So a lot of kids there know exactly what they're talking about 100% of the time. And I just think it's incredible, you know, just to be in an environment like Southwestern.
Well, and a lot of folks don't realize how important that professor-to-student ratio is, and if it's a lower number, how much better your learning experience can be. You know, I've mentioned it on prior shows. If you go to the University of Texas as a freshman and you go to an English 1 class, English Lit, you're looking at a class between 400 and 600 students. And so you're not even talking to the professor. You know, you talk to assistant teachers. So that's one of the valuable things about a university like Southwestern that a lot of people miss out on because they want to go to a flagship state school, and they don't realize how much benefit they can obtain from attending a school like Southwestern University. So tell us what your major is.
So I'm majoring in psychology, and I'm a minor in architecture this year, or just throughout Southwestern.
That's an interesting combination. So you have psychology and architecture. Are these things you're going to combine into a profession?
The psychology was because when I was younger, my mom used to be able to read my mind. My mom is a major in psych. She majored in psych. And she used to be able to read my mind. I used to always wonder, how could she do that?
It's because she's known you a long time, too. That helps. But.
I used to always think, but I think psychology is just an interesting, you know, major, just to being able to know about the human brain, how the brain operates. And I think that's something that I wanted to know. I was very, very into that, like as a kid growing up. The architecture side of it is I love houses. You know, I always told my mom one day I'm going to build us a real big house somewhere out in the country in Texas. And just I kind of wanted to take that passion and that into something that I could really do and, like, you know, try to make that happen.
So do you watch a lot of HGTV on
Yes.
cable? You do?
Yes.
So you like the flipping houses and the renovation shows?
I do.
Yeah.
Even like all my social media apps, like every now and then an ad of just a house would just pop up.
Man, you and my wife could watch TV for hours, I guess. Okay, do you have any closing thoughts on the game from Saturday?
It was a great game. I'm really happy we were able to get the team win. We're going to get better next week. We're going to take down TLU, and we're going to execute, and we're going to bring Southwestern back.
I love it, man. Congratulations, Quan, on a
Thank you so much.
great performance on Saturday, and we'll be right back with Coach Austin to talk about that TLU game here on SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Joining me again, Coach Joe Austin. Okay, Coach, let's talk about TLU. You know, Austin College is in the past. We're going to go to this Saturday. TLU had kind of a rough start to the season, but they're kind of coming on of late. They've won two in a row. They knocked off McMurray and East Texas Baptist in the last two games. Give us your overall thoughts of the Bulldogs.
Well, I think you started where you need to start. They're playing really well now. They kind of figured out who they are throughout the season. So when you watch their games kind of sequentially, you can see the development of what they are and what they're going to be. Offensively, they're very unique. In a lot of ways, they're kind of like what we used to be with some of our older quarterbacks. They run a lot of triple option and double option and some unique things that you don't see from a lot of different schools. And they figured out and got how to do it, and they've gotten pretty good at it. Over 3 of their last 4 games, their run-to-pass ratio, they run it about 50, 55 times a game and throw it 10 to 15. And when they throw it, they're efficient with it because they suck everybody up and they get you into situations where you leave guys uncovered. So that's kind of the dynamic that we'll be up against. They have a couple of really good, talented running backs. Their quarterback is a very good runner, and some capable wide receivers when they do want to throw it. Defensively, the challenge with them is they play a whole bunch of different things throughout the season. They kind of, they almost have a new coverage every game. There's some similarities in what they do, but they're kind of a week-by-week game plan defense, so we won't know exactly what we're going to see. But I think there's enough flexibility within our offensive system that whatever variety that we see from them, I think we can have our guys prepared.
Well, their offense is averaging over 300 yards a game. They're averaging about 22 points a game in conference. So how are we going to slow them down, their rushing attack?
We're going to tackle them. when you get a chance to tackle them, you're going to have to get them on the ground. Otherwise, they're going to make big plays. They have a ton of rushes between about 11, 14, 15 yards. I mean, they're really good at getting, maybe not home runs, but pretty darn good chunks within the running game. And if you get a chance to get them on the ground, you have to get them on the ground. Against East Texas Baptist last week, they did get some really long runs. And when you watch the film, East Texas Baptist had a chance to tackle them for a 3, 4, 5, 6-yard gain, and they didn't, and they turned it into 25 to touchdowns, depending on however much field they had left. So I think that'll be a really important thing for us is that when we have the opportunity to get them on the ground, we need to do that.
So how important will gap integrity be for the defense against TLU?
Well, it always is, but it's certainly a very specific assignment game when you play an option team, and so we'll have time this week to go over that. No, they're not. We're not playing Navy. They're not just going to run wishbone the whole time, but they've got some really good option elements in what they do, and we'll need to make sure that we know who's taking the pitch and who's taking the quarterback, and really have that down in order to be successful.
So do they come out in the wishbone or a flex bone or anything like that?
No, they're like I said, they kind of stole a lot of what we used to do. They run some spread formations and find ways to run triple option and double option out of it. So in a lot of ways, it's like watching a lot of what we used to do. A lot of outside zone option, some option off of power, and some things that like I said, we used to do with some older players that was our style a few years ago.
Well, we talked in the opening a little bit about during the Austin College game. We had a couple of fumbles that we didn't give away, but we were able to get back on them. The TLU defense has had 10 takeaways in conference play, and numerous of those have been in their last 2 games. So how do we stop this trend when we face TLU, prevent them from getting the turnovers?
Well, we should not throw it to them, and then we should also not drop it on the ground.
those are good answers. How do we attack their defense?
The same way we've been attacking everyone. We have our offensive system in place, and we've got some things that we can put some wrinkles in week to week. But we're getting better ourselves, and so we're going to be really good at what we do because, as I mentioned, we don't know exactly what we're going to see from them. They're on a couple different fronts. In their 8 games, they've run about 6 different coverages. So we'll need to be really good at what we do, and then we can apply that to whatever they're going to throw at us throughout the game.
So defensively, if we're able to slow them down from the running game, because obviously if they're running the ball quite a bit, then that could shorten the overall length of the game and limit the possessions that we have. So how are we going to prevent them from possessing the ball for long periods of time and preventing our offense from even seeing the field?
Well, I think if we tackle them, we'll be in good shape. But they only have, we'll have 11 guys and they'll have 11 guys. And one of their guys has to carry the ball, which means he can't block anybody. So we've got a free player every play. So when we get the opportunity to tackle the football, we'll need to tackle the football. They're not going to go away from it. They're not all of a sudden going to switch their run-pass ratio if they're behind into throwing it 50 times and running it 15. They're going to do what they've done. So I just think we need to tackle the football, be good on third down. Last week we weren't good on third and long, but this team doesn't get into third and long because they're going to run it on first and second down and get into third and medium and third and short. So when we get a chance on third down to make a stop and get off the field, it'll be really important for us to do that.
Well, and the defense had success this week at getting Austin College off the field on third down often. Do you think that can translate into TLU, against TLU?
Yeah, hopefully. I think the only situation we didn't do a great job on defensively was third and long. In third and medium and third and short, I thought we did a really good job there. So hopefully those things will continue to carry over. And we're getting better in all phases every week. So if we can just keep making progress on defense and on offense. We talked about in the first segment, we've talked to our players all year about, get better every week. Put profits in the bank and just keep becoming a better football team. And we had a great week of preparation last week. So if we can bank another great week of preparation this week, I think that'll put us in a good position.
So give us your final thoughts on the TLU game as fans. What can we expect headed to Seguin on Saturday afternoon?
It's another team from our old conference, and so we play them a lot. It was actually our very first game that we played was against TLU, and so we play them in all kinds of sports. So always fun for us to go play them, and I think it's a good rivalry. We didn't get to play them in the COVID year, but we played them at least once a year, every other year. Kind of with the COVID deal, it's too bad we lost that because it would have been a string of 9 years in a row getting to play them. So it's an important game for us. It's not as maybe as much as Austin College, but we do run into them in recruiting. They're kind of in that middle ground. They're better than most, not as good as some from an academic standpoint. So it's an important game for recruiting. It's an important game for our program.
Well, I appreciate you for joining us tonight, Coach, here at SU Football Weekly. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Make sure you come out on Saturday to Seguin at Texas Lutheran to watch the Pirates take on the Texas Lutheran Bulldogs. And then we'll be back on Monday to talk about that game at SU Football Weekly presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Thank you for tuning in and watching, and thank you for coming out. We'll see you next time.
Come on.